Are you tired of all the dating games, rules, and societal norms that make falling in love confusing and stressful?
Then join us as we ditch the script and empower you to establish healthy, conscious relationships.
This weekly podcast breaks down popular dating reality television and educates you on healthy versus toxic dating habits.
I'm Brianna, a licensed therapist.
And I'm Alex, a trauma-informed and certified narcissist recovery coach.
Are you ready to ditch the script?
Oh my God.
I love it.
Hey.
Let's try that again. Hi.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot what time it was.
Yeah, when your dance party's so good, you lose track of time.
Yeah, it was I was doing the shopping
Shopping
cart.
cart. Yeah, you were. I appreciated it.
I put one back.
Cute tip. Oh, you put one back? Yeah.
Yeah, I put
I
one back.
want
I
it.
said
No,
that's too
I
expensive.
Yeah. I love it. Hi, Fred. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. Ooh, I've had so many baby snuggles. It's been so nice.
Yeah,
How
are
are
your
you?
ovaries on fire now?
They're tired,
Oh,
I'd say.
ovaries are tired. That's
Yeah.
good. You take a little nappy poo, ovaries.
Yeah, you just
Bye-bye.
take a nap.
You
You just
snuggle
take a
up.
nap. Yeah.
Bye-bye. Yeah.
They are like there's something I don't know. Actually, I'm on a pretty strong hormonal birth control, so it's hard to tell if I'm actually getting any like vibes because I feel like there's so much interference. But if let's assume that my body, my uterus and I are actually hormonally connected. I don't know if we are. If we were, there's definitely like a feeling that I get when I'm around these tiny little babies where I'm like, oh, this is so nice. I feel so wonderful being connected to this little baby, this vulnerable being that like is just only needing like safety and nurturing, and
Yeah.
I'm watching them get that provided to them, or I'm assisting in providing that, and it just feels really good to the person, to being a human being.
Yeah.
And
So true.
I also have like a little bit of a clock where I'm like, gotta go,
Yeah.
gotta blast.
Tap out.
Yeah. So they're tired. They've went through like an emotional hormonal roller coaster.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And now
How
they've
about you?
clocked out. I'm
You've clocked
good.
out.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm just over here living my hottest desert life ever.
I thought you were
Getting
just going to stop
ready.
at hottest life
Yeah. I mean,
ever.
also hottest life ever. I have a cough coming up, so give me 2 seconds.
Yeah. I gave her the baby micro version of her cough.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Um, yeah, I'm doing my thing. And it's going. It's going. And Jax is thriving. Aren't you, little bubs? And I don't really have much to report back.
I Okay, I have like a tiny little like fantasy dream.
Okay, tell me
I want to cut my hair so bad.
how much cut it. Like pixie
Like a
cut?
lot of it. Not quite a pixie, but
Okay.
there's something that's like surfacing the internet called a Bixie, which is sort of a cross between like a pixie cut and a bob. Yeah.
Oh, I'm looking it up right now.
So
Ooh.
it's sort of like long-ish in the back, but it's like quite at the like neck. Um
Love it.
and like I would love maybe some like baby bangs and stuff like fun stuff to do with like my hair. Um but it's such a big change, and while I am no stranger to cutting my hair in lots of kooky different ways, I do know that not all of them look good on me.
Mm,
And I would love to care less about what I look like and how it feels like I'm perceived. But I'm a human being, and I'm a Libra sun, first and foremost. And I care about how I present in the world, and I have to like it. I don't necessarily need it to be well received by others so much, but I have to like it. I feel like I'm still looking for a haircut that feels like
you.
me.
I get that.
Yeah.
I so get
Yeah.
that. I just Googled what a Bixie is. So
Yeah.
that's I was
What
taking
do
a
you
peek.
think?
I think it looks super
Yeah.
cute. Yeah.
Yeah, they're cool.
Do you have a wig shop in your area anywhere?
Oh, I don't know. I'm nervous though.
Yeah.
Like wigs can sometimes look like, I mean, they could be great wigs.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't look like you've put on like a costume. But I just worry that, you know what I need to do? I need to
Huh.
like I really trust my hairstylist to do something like this. This is like what he specializes in, doing like really
Then let
fun,
him
kind of
do it.
edgy, a little bit
Yeah.
alternative cuts. But I think
Yes.
I should schedule a haircut, go talk to him and be like, this is ideally what I want and I actually really want your input. Like either how do we make this really fit like my features, my face, the size of my forehead. Like I really want the nitty-gritty of your expertise, your level of genius, and me receiving your thoughts.
It.
Don't beat around the bush. I want to hear what you want to say.
Yeah.
And if it feels like I'm not happy with what's being suggested because it just like wasn't like what I was thinking, I'll note it and be like, let's just do the cut that we do and get
Yeah.
on out of here.
Word.
And I'll think about it. I'll marinate.
There you go. That's great. Yeah, good plan. I bring up the wig thing because for two reasons. When I used to be performing in the theater world and I had to wear a wig all the time, it really let
Mm.
me play with like different colors of hair. So for example, I would go darker over lighter because
Mm.
it makes my eyes pop a lot. And I only know that because of wearing a
Wigs.
straight dark brown black wig. Yeah, back and forth.
Wow.
Um, the other thing is I don't know if you
Wow.
remember this, but right before I got my bangs, I like flipped my hair up and like bobby pinned it to play with like
Yeah.
what would it look like if I did have bangs. And so I don't know, like I'm all about that. I'm all about like find fun ways to like play and
Play.
figure it out. And speaking of haircuts, I can't wait to get mine cut this Thursday. She needs a
Yeah.
refresh. I'm so
I
excited.
know. But I love your haircut. It does
Me
feel like
too.
you. Does yours feel
Yes.
like you?
Yes, I feel like I finally did find a hairstyle that worked for me after looking
Yeah.
high and low. So I'm excited to get it refreshed and back to its like standard self. But I'm also excited for you to find your look. Your look.
Yeah. I'm having a hard time, if I'm honest, like pulling the trigger,
Yeah.
which I've never had in the past. In the past, I had the idea and I was like, oh, I want a pixie cut, or I want to like cut my hair all off, or I want to do something crazy, or I want to like dye something. And I would just
Mhm.
book the appointment and do it. I'm having this like weird femininity crisis. Oh, crisis is a strong word. It's dating men that is making it hard for me to let go of long hair. Now, if anyone's listening to
Oh.
this, I want you to know the thing that you're trying to shout at me, I already know. I
Which is
already
what?
know it.
Wait, what are
Which
people
is
trying to
like,
shout at you?
is that like, first of all, if I'm only maintaining hair to like to be perceived as attractive to men, absolutely not. Throw the whole
Oh.
thing out. You
Yeah,
know?
and by the way, men, there will always be men that find you not attractive. Look at the comments I just got. Someone called me a
I,
fugly ass
I
something.
saw that. I was like, "Do you have eyes?" I'm sorry. Do you have eyes? I couldn't
And a
believe
stupid
that.
ass female, and I literally laughed. I was like rolling on the floor yesterday. Anyway, this isn't about that. This is about your haircut. But
I
I
did see
hear
that. I
you.
was like, "Oh my
Yeah,
god."
I hear you.
Yeah, that and like do what you want. Like this is my hair, this is my head, this is my
Yeah.
body, this is my stuff. It's important for me to like what I look like and how I feel before I put the needs of others. I'm just reconciling with the fact that like this is also at the same time I'm grappling with conditioned beliefs,
Of
you know?
course,
Like
always.
I'm
Yes.
just a human being and I happen to identify as female and I happen to be struggling with what that means as far as my presentation goes and how the world receives it. The world
Mhm.
receives me differently with long hair and I fucking hate that that's true. I fucking hate that shit. And it
Mhm.
is. And
Yeah.
it's really irritating.
Yeah.
And and we can sit here and be like, throw it out, do what you want, which you should. You absolutely should do what you want. but I'm not going to be told that like people don't get treated differently when they look outside of beauty standards, because they do. I fit in many beauty standards, so I don't even live the experience of what that feels
Right.
like outside of. But of the moments where I have made some cosmetic changes or some aesthetic changes where I am outside of beauty standards, especially when I play with like masculine like clothing and things like that, I am treated very differently, and it is very real. And I can feel like, oh, like doesn't not a big deal. I love how I look, which is still true. And there's a part of you that wrestles with that inside that is like, sad face, sad
Mm,
face.
mm,
Because we do want to be accepted, even if we
mm,
don't live in a totally accepting culture and world.
mm. Got you. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks
Yeah.
for letting me like get that
Yeah,
out.
let it out. Let it out. I also want to remind everybody about Scarlett Johansson and Jennifer Aniston's pixie cut phases, and they were still hot as shit and made a, you know.
Mm.
It's like, it's kind of like, first of all, I want to acknowledge the duality of these feelings, and simultaneously, like, there's always going to be somebody that thinks something that we don't
Yeah,
want of
totally.
us. So
Totally.
it's like, fuck, like, let's just do it anyway. And by the way, I cut my hair in a bob once. Did you know this? I cut my hair in an A-line bob, and it looked
Mm.
awful. It looked awful
Mm-hmm.
because it accentuated
Mm-hmm.
my larger nose, which is above not a beauty standard type nose. I looked like Barbara Streisand in a way. And
Yeah.
which, by the way, beautiful woman who actually can rock the pixie cut, it did not do me
And the bob.
justice.
When
It
was
grew
this?
out
When did you do this? When did you
20
do this?
2015.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, and I still, even though I look at those pictures and I can recognize like the wasn't the best haircut for me, we still were able to attract boys.
Yeah. I've had tons of really bad haircuts, if I'm totally honest. And it comes with the price of being so, at least in my youth, being so
My youth.
like carefree. So
Yeah.
carefree about I was like, I want to do this and I want to do that and I want to do this and I want to do that. This is the other thing. I get
Yeah.
told with long hair, it's also other women. They're like, but you have such beautiful hair. A
Ugh.
lot of this pressure I get from other women.
And it'll be beautiful short or whatever the fuck, medium length, curly, frizzy,
Well, that's what
long.
I'm trying to it's like that's what I'm trying to tell people. Not that I have to justify it, but it's like you're complimenting me about my beautiful hair, my long
In
hair.
this
My
very
hair is
specific way.
Yeah, my hair is also, and I know we're going on about hair for a really long time, but there's layers to this stuff. But but my hair, like honestly, when I say this stuff to like my mom, I'm like, you're complimenting like my long hair being beautiful because I have beautiful hair. Like my hair is
It's
just
not the
good,
length.
and
Yeah.
I take pride in that my hair is good and manageable. Like stop putting the goodness of it just on the length, which is so tied
Yes.
to femininity.
Yes, love that. Also, I want to share something that's related to this, but a step further down the mental health tunnel. And here's what
Cool,
I
let's
mean.
go. Just
When
as we
we,
do.
yeah, when we are babies, right? When we come into this world, and at our earliest stages, we are the most brave, we are the most curious, we are the most full of life and happy because no one has jaded us yet. No one has been like,
Mhm.
it's hard to make money if you're not feminine if you don't wear a dress in pink and purple. And you like all of that is literal society and people, our earliest
Mhm.
parents and caregivers and babysitters and teachers who say project all of these things onto us. It's like this is why I love like have you seen those like videos of little kids meeting trans people for the first time and they're like, I
Yeah.
think you're beautiful. Yeah, because they
Yeah.
haven't had the conditioning shoved down their throats that someone else is
Mm-hmm.
weird or not okay or not accept like whatever the
Right.
fuck adjective you want to put in there.
Right,
If
right.
they aren't X, Y, or Z, they're just, you're a human and I love you because you're a human. You just are, right? It's
Yeah, you're
like
nice to me. You're kind to me. You speak to me
basic
with
human
like,
decency. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
What
yeah,
do we really
yeah.
value at the end of the day, everybody? Like we were born on this planet to live a full life and to actually like love ourselves and through that love other people. And I am so sick and tired of societal bullshit and religious bullshit. Sorry, I'm gonna say it. And every other kind of and form of bullshit that tells you you need to fit in this box or this hole to be X, Y, or Z. I'm over it. Live your life. Do whatever you want. Cut your hair. If it's not great, it'll grow back. Take it from me, right? Like it's just do it. Just do it if it's going to make you
Period.
happy, if it's going to make you feel more like you. If you're feeling like wearing sweats today, so be it. Tomorrow you can wear the skirt. Like no one cares. We need to stop
Mm-hmm.
caring and we need to stop
Mm-hmm.
telling these wonderful babies that that things are going to be hard or whatever. Like I'm so over it. Sorry.
Period. Period. Period.
I'm like,
Absolutely period.
oh,
Yeah,
okay. Thanks for
I
letting
know.
me
No,
vent,
I'm with you.
everybody.
You're welcome. And to just close that out, Florida is so fucking hot. I cannot have hair this long, which is truly like yours and my hair is like quite similar in length at this stage, and it's like down all the way to the like middle of my
Past
back.
our
Like
boobies.
yeah, like it's too it's long and it's hot as fuck. And I can't fucking, if I have to feel this shit on my neck one more day, I'm actually going to take the kitchen scissors to my own hair myself. I swear. And y'all don't want me to do that
I've
because I
also
am not
done
an
that. Yeah.
artist. Have you? When did you do
All
that?
the
When did you do that?
also as a child. I gave myself a mohawk as a child.
I
Third grade. Yeah.
love that.
Yeah, I had to put a side pony with the remaining hair to try and cover it up so it grew out, you know.
Aw. You know, it's very
Yeah.
humbling.
You know,
Um,
I love my hair.
hair, hair stories, hair stories. Okay. We are here
Yeah.
to talk queer
Yeah, I love
ultimatum.
that.
You're
Hells
welcome.
yeah. Let's go. I'm excited for
Yeah.
this next episode. I want to
Oh,
say one really amazing thing that overall I want to give to everybody on this show right now.
hmm,
They model consent way better than any other show. For the most part,
true.
we have one episode of that's a little gray area, or one situation that's a
Mm.
gray area, but for the most part, there's a lot of are you okay with this? What are you not okay with? How do you like this? This is how I want you to know I'll accept you for this, this, and that. Like there's a lot of those combos, and I really love
Good
that.
modeling. Good modeling in
Yeah.
that regard for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Because there's been so many other shows where that is not the case.
Yeah. This is our first episode of Ditch the Script in Pride Month this year. And
Mm,
we're talking about a queer show. So thank God.
amaze.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride.
There's this meme going around, and I'm sure it's been done by a bunch of other people, but I do like it. I'm gonna bring it up here. That says, I hope all of the homophobes have a really uncomfortable month.
Yes, me too.
Yeah. um, okay, so where we're at in Queer Ultimatum, Queer Love, is we're covering the third and fourth episode today. And what we see last is like just the beginning of people pairing off into their trial experiences. And what we come to find is we already knew that Yoli and Xander chose each other. And
Yep.
we knew that Vanessa was choosing Ray, but we didn't know how Ray was responding. And we didn't know anything about anyone else.
Yeah, and okay, let's continue this and then I want to piggyback off. I want to come back to something you just said. So, we're gonna go.
Okay, great. Ray chooses Vanessa back.
Okay. But
Aussie chooses, oh, what?
this is where I want to say my thing. But then Vanessa
Yeah,
goes off on this whole speech saying, "Thanks for choosing me before I choose you." It was really
I know
weird.
why. I know why she
Okay,
said
can
that.
you explain that to me? Because I got confused.
Because she's saying thanks for choosing me before I choose you because for her she didn't want to feel like she was chosen just to spare her embarrassment.
Oh, got you. Okay,
She's
cool.
like
Thank you.
thanks for I'm glad that you chose me Oh, that's right. We Vanessa hadn't chosen Ray yet. It was just like up to Ray. Um, Vanessa didn't want to be put in this place. I think Vanessa struggles with a lot more insecurity than she presents herself to.
Oh my gosh.
And
Yes.
so I think for her, these are
Of
one of these
course.
moments where it's like, I don't want to look stupid. 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 I'm comfortable with everyone else looking stupid, but I don't want to look stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Word. Okay, cool. So moving on. Next.
Okay. Then Aussie chooses Mildred. Mildred
Yep.
chooses Aussie. I was surprised
Yep.
about this. We kind of talked about that in the last one.
Yep.
Sam chooses Tiff, and Tiff chooses Sam. And
Lexi.
Mal and Lexi chose each other, and I can't remember if that happened in the episode prior or this one,
No.
but that's where
This
we
one.
are.
Yep.
Okay. And
Yay.
those are the couples. Everyone recoupled.
Everybody recoupled.
Why?
I don't know. There's a part of me that's like, does the show force them to do that or
No, they
not?
don't,
Or
because
what?
they didn't do that on the first show.
I know, but I'm
Two
wondering if
couples didn't
things have
recouple.
changed. Okay. All right.
If they were
So
like, you have to.
I also wonder if there's kind of like what we were saying last week, like they don't want to be the only one that doesn't couple, so they're just like choosing people to be with to like make their ex feel some kind of way.
Mm,
I'm curious to know if
mm-hmm,
that's
mm-hmm,
happening.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, it's interesting. I also want to say the thing that makes me the most uncomfortable doing during these like weird dinner parties where they're choosing a new person in front of their current partner of like 3, 4 years is this whole like speech they give that's like, I'm quoting, I don't know who I'm quoting. Oh, I think I'm quoting Lexi, but it's, they say, like, I know you better than 99% of the people in this world. And it's just like, oh my God, you're saying all these, like, really intense, like, things to someone that you just met in front of your other ex. It's just weird. You know what I mean? Like, I can only imagine how much that hurts. And then you throw these people into rooms to now be together, and they kind of are like, they're bonding over a traumatic experience. I don't want to say it's a trauma bond, but
Mm,
they've all been like, they've all witnessed their partner of 3 or 4 years be like, I care about you so much and I'm excited to see where this goes. And you're just like sitting there with a dagger in your heart and you're like, okay, well, I'm going to pick you and I'm excited to see where this goes. And then they all get in a room.
right,
They all get in a room, or they get in the room with their new partner and they start bonding over the fact of how miserable they feel.
right.
It's not funny, actually. It's really fucked up.
I agree. And I actually feel like the only person that we saw, and it's weird that I'm about to say this, but the only person that we saw have
Not do
what
that.
feels like, yeah, what feels like an actual human reaction to how I think a lot of us would have felt in that situation was Tiff. Do I think that Tiff's behavior is model behavior? Absolutely not.
No.
But Tiff was like honest and tearful, saying, I really love my partner still. This is hard for me, but in this circumstance, I'm going to pick the partner who I believe, and I hope that this doesn't make it sound like I'm using this person as a tool, but I'm going to utilize my opportunity in this experience. And I actually appreciated that Tiff was letting Sam know this,
Hmm.
and talked about it again when
Yeah.
they were alone, to say, hey, I don't actually see this as like a romantic progression. I do see this as an opportunity to be able to help myself learn how to be a better partner by going through something that's kind of awkward, weird, difficult, brand new.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed. And she is.
Hmm.
I'm really interested to see I'm really interested to see what continues to happen in this season because we're seeing a lot of toxic behaviors that have been normalized get triggered in people, but we're also seeing people work through those triggers with a new person, which I love. And I'm like, "Ooh, this just goes to show it matters who you're in partnership with because if you're in partnership with someone who isn't willing to like let's implement new ingredients into this relationship. Let's see what's happening. And now, what are we going to do as a team to navigate this together? Right? That's healthy relationship conflict resolution and growth. What's not healthy is this is your problem. You're talking, you need to, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's not okay. Right? So, it's like I really am excited to see the growth that comes from couples who are consciously wanting to work on certain skills that they weren't working on in their other relationships.
And I actually think we see that with Tiff at the end
Yeah,
of the
we
fourth
do. That's who
episode.
I'm alluding to. Yeah,
So interesting because that's not what I was expecting
same.
at all.
Me neither.
Um,
Love it. Love to be surprised
okay,
in a good way.
me too. Um, okay, where am I? Oh, okay.
Couples
I
go
do
to their
want to.
places. Oh, go
Couples
ahead.
go to their places. Nope, right there. That's right there. Something that stood out to me out of all of the couples, it did feel like Mal and Lexi were sort of the most natural. They clearly like vibe with each other very well.
100%. Yeah.
Most natural integration into their new space and new dynamic. It honestly, it wasn't feeling 100% sex forward, but there were
No.
touches of like sexual teasing
Yeah.
and also lots of communication like how do you
Lots.
like to
I loved
cuddle,
it.
like yeah, I love that. I have other notes that are not in alignment with so much with these feelings that I'm having at this stage of the process a little later, but I'll wait on that. But from this moment it's like they really feel like a good fit.
Yeah.
They seem like they're going to be able to handle whatever stress comes up in the show, or in this experience as it plays out, and they seem playful with each other. They seem to like each other a lot. They seem to connect with each other pretty quickly, and I think that they're kind of in like a weird intimate first date kind of mode.
So true. Yeah.
Yeah,
They're doing
but
really
intimate.
well. Yeah. And I agree. The amount of communication and the specifics of the way they're communicating is going to be really beneficial if they keep that up. Like it's going so well. Like they're talking about bathroom counter space needs. Like how about your hair boundaries, which I love because there are some women that are like, don't play with my hair, don't touch my hair. And
Right.
Mal is asking, like, is this okay?
Right.
So that like these are all things where I think a lot of people laugh that might feel contrived to ask specific questions like that, but it's really not. It's like you should know like how much counter space does your partner need, right? How much counter space do you need? Do you like your hair being played with or not? Like we should communicate that before we just snap at them for playing with our hair. So it's like this is all good. They're learning each other really efficiently because they're equipping each other with this information. So love it. Great job.
I agree. I totally agree. What I don't love that Mal does is and I don't know if it was in this early stage of moving in together or if it's like maybe a weekend, but they're talking to Lexi about like how they could totally see themselves engaged to Lexi.
Got you.
And it was just kind of like, first of all, Lexi's the one that really is looking for marriage and commitment from her partner Ray,
Yeah.
and is like on the show to see if they maybe, if she's not going to get it from Ray, can she explore it with other people. But it's and what we know about Lexi as the person who allows us to get to know her, she is very focused and driven in all areas of her life, and marriage is no exception. She's like, this is what I'm ready for, this is what I'm looking for, this is what I'm going for. So I do think that someone in the position of Mal, who's like, yes, they've said that they want marriage, but they're hesitant with their current partner. I understand that. But they're also like quite quick to tell someone who that means a lot to, saying, I could totally see myself marrying you. I just want people to think, yes, it's really nice to say those things and see it received by a person that you care a lot about. It's really nice to make people feel good. And there is so much weight to the things that you say to someone. Please fucking consider that.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I'm interested to see if Mal really meant that or if cuz like there's not a part of me that doesn't think she's being dishonest. I think there's a part of me that she's not being as specific. Like you can see yourself being engaged to me in 6 weeks from now or you can see yourself being engaged with me 6 months a year from now.
Right.
Um And if you can, like, see yourself with me in 6 weeks, but you couldn't see yourself with your partner in 6 weeks or now after being with them for 3 to 4 years, I
three
would like to
years.
kind of understand why. Like, I would like to understand what it, and because this is true. This is true. I do believe that there are certain people who might be ready for marriage, but they haven't been with a partner that makes them feel ready for marriage. You know what I
Totally.
mean? I do believe that there is that possibility where maybe Mal, what she was missing with Yoli, she's not missing with Lexi. So that idea feels much more comfortable and stable to her. But I think
Right.
it's early days to say this. And I want to share something that I do personally in my own life
Yeah.
when this stuff bubbles up, because I think that feelings are fleeting, y'all. Feelings are fleeting, and
Mm.
depending on the amount of alcohol or substances we've partaken in, depending on the environment that we're in, meaning like, are we on vacation? Are we in a really fun, luxurious, beautiful place? Are we, like, what environment are we in? All of these things cater to the way that we're feeling. And so personally, when I feel myself starting to feel big feelings, like maybe it's feelings of love, maybe it's fantasies of marriage, maybe it's fantasies of that, I don't say them the first time that I'm thinking and feeling them. I keep those are inside thoughts for me to enjoy. You can still enjoy them, right? I still enjoy them. I take them, I daydream with them, I take them to my bed, and I'm like, ooh, that was such a fun thought and feeling to have. But I marinate on them, because what really stands the test of time for me and the things that I communicate is how often am I feeling those things, and am I feeling those things in different circumstances consistently with this person? Because if that's the case, that most likely means they're true. Whereas, is this happening in this one eggshell in this one like moment of what is the word I was looking for using eggshell, and
Like a
this
container.
one container, yeah, this one like pocket of a moment, eggshell of a
Mm.
moment. And yeah, and if that's the case, then I'm not going to say them, because that's not true. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, let
Yeah.
yourself marinate on it. Don't say it right away. If it's true, it's going to consistently show up.
I do this too. Once post-coital, I was like, I love this person.
Yeah,
And then I
of course.
remembered, and then I remembered, um, I just had sex and
Yeah.
I'm feeling very connected to this person. And there's
Exactly.
lots of chemicals that are like flowing between us and myself, period. And I was like, yeah, of course this like feels like love in this moment, but it also like feels like validation and feels happy. And
Yeah.
sometimes those things are included in love, but this might not be love right now. So maybe I don't tell this person that I love them in this
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah, like I think labeling like, okay, this is infatuating, like this is like, and
Yeah.
those aren't negative words. I think a lot of people are like, I
They're the
can't
good.
admit that I'm infatuated. I can't admit that I'm lusting after this person. It's like, yes, you can. Like, it's
Hmm.
okay to be infatuated. It's okay to be in lust. Let's just like surrender to what we're actually feeling instead of trying to make it mean something more than it actually is in this moment. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So,
Yep.
yeah, I'm interested to see what ends up happening there
Yeah.
with Mal.
So let's cut over to Ray and Vanessa coming
Okay.
together in their early days.
I really strongly disliked it, because in my opinion, all it was Vanessa trying to love bomb, love bomb, love bomb, love bomb, love bomb Ray. It, like, to the point to where it was nauseating. I'm like, can you just stop? Like, can you stop
Yeah.
for 5 minutes? Just stop.
And one of those things that was made it very clear to me that that's exactly what was happening is she told Ray, "We're going to build a beautiful life together." That is
A love
really
bomb, a
interesting,
future
as
fake.
well as a love bomb. Yeah, it's a future fake, but it's a love bomb because Vanessa has also been quite vocal with Ray's partner, Lexi, saying, I don't see myself getting married. I don't want further commitment. So like telling someone that you're going to build a beautiful life together, granted she's telling that to someone who also is not big on commitment at this stage of her life. So like it's not hitting the same way that it would have with Lexi or someone like Lexi, you know?
Right.
But she's definitely you're watching Vanessa try. And
So hard.
Ray's barriers of the ones that I'm aware of, because I don't have the whole scope of the ones that I'm aware of, is Ray um, is pretty insecure herself. and she doesn't really totally accept compliments or the experience of like truly like really being loved. So someone saying I love you or like we're gonna build a beautiful life together, Ray's just sort of like hee hee like what are you saying right now?
Yeah.
Or like let's just go to sleep, you crazy lady.
Mhm.
Or she's like she's just like she's not comfortable with it, like it's not really working for her. So because there's these barriers, you're seeing Vanessa be like, I love you this way and I'm love bombing you that way and I am telling you that our life is going to be beautiful this way, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, it was like nails on a chalkboard for me. And I have a note here, like Ray was following her around like a puppy. Like it was the weirdest thing. Like because Ray like almost didn't, not literally like, oh, I like you so much, let me follow you around like a puppy. Not like that. What I mean is Ray like didn't know what to do with herself. So she was like zombie-esque, like just like, okay, I'm a
Mm,
moon and your gravitational pull is like what it felt like, you know?
right. Oh, that's
Um,
so interesting. That's so
yeah,
interesting.
and she was so shell shocked. I'm really proud of Ray for finally speaking up because Vanessa, like, literally was like, it was like a child that had had 20 pounds of cotton candy. Like, it was just like, it was like, oh my God, girl, like, come up for air, please.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so Ray finally was like, I'm not here right now. Like, you could tell, like, she was so dissociated. And then she finally was like,
Mm.
I am not here right now. And it's just like she said she needed a night to like chill. But in her confessional, I love that Ray was like, I'm mostly nervous because now I'm starting to think like did everybody else see something that I didn't see? And I love that she at least was curious about that. And I hope what's echoing in her ears is everyone coming to Xander's defense when Vanessa that whole day, because she witnessed all of that. So I feel for her because I think it's one of those things where like have you ever made a decision and you know it was the wrong decision and you're sitting in the fallout of that and you're like still kind of like this feels icky because I know in my gut this wasn't the right decision, but I'm still trying to rationalize it and look for why it might be the right decision. I feel like that's what's going on
Yes.
for Ray.
Yes, I totally agree. I could not describe that better myself. Actually talks about like having like a the little voice in the back of her head. I do want to tell people that if you're identifying with that like experience that Ray's having and that little voice is your intuition, and that intuition is usually right. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to just lean in and be like, okay, my intuition is speaking to me. Let me like honor it. If you're in the practice or in that relationship with your intuition, in which that's where you're able to pivot and make choices, new choices that change your circumstance, and you're ready for that, yes, lean in, do that. But it's also okay to sort of do what Ray's doing, where she's like, I'm just choosing to trust the choice that I make right now, and I'm going to see what else comes up for me. She didn't really say it like that, but that's kind of what she's alluding
Yeah.
to. And that's okay too. That's okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes the little voice is there and we're not in the place where we're like, and I know that that's my intuition and I'm following it and I'm going to change course. Sometimes it's like, okay, I'm noticing that. I'm going to bring that little voice along with me,
Yeah.
even though I'm going to do the thing that it's going to tell me to not do. That's okay.
Yep.
I do want to say something else about Vanessa, because Vanessa had a confessional, like sort of leading up to her moving in with Ray, and Vanessa talks a little bit more candidly because she's alone about her feelings about monogamous relationships and her feelings about marriage and her feelings about why it's challenging for her to be to in the idea of being with just one person. She talks a lot about like for her, she really loves to be able to connect with lots of people. She doesn't want to cut herself off from connecting with lots of different people.
Mhm.
Now, I'm choosing to put aside some of the other red flag behavior that I've seen of her, of the high that she gets from connecting with other people and the way in which she uses that to kind of manipulate people. What I'm personally taking ownership of seeing, to I'm removing that just for a second to speak to what it must feel like to be a person who does feel the way that she's describing when she says, I want to connect with lots of people. I want to have beautiful connections with lots of people and not have um too many rules around it because it steps outside of a monogamous agreement. And I do want to say that's valid.
Mhm.
And there are people that feel that way and can have healthy connections with many people as they allow themselves and have that agreement with whatever partners they're in relationship with at the time, to whatever degree those relationships are, where those relationships and those connections are healthy, and um and there's a lot of consent around them, and they are basically honoring those parts of themselves that really want that experience that is possible. And Vanessa, if you feel that way, this is not the place for you, bro.
Yeah.
What the
And I
fuck are you doing here?
I know, I really feel that that's what Lexi was trying to say. Like, she's like, someone needs to tell you to get off this show. Like, this is
Yeah.
literally about a show to get married. It's just, okay, that's it. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I just wanted to say that. That's
I
all.
can't. I
Um,
can't.
okay, let's transition to Tiff and Mildred.
Okay, let's.
Tiff and Mildred. Mildred and Tiff. I think that they like start in as like uh besties that you just met at camp for the first time. What?
Do you mean Tiff and Sam?
I mean, no, I mean Mildred and Aussie. That's what I mean. Thank you
Mildred
for
and
correcting
Aussie.
me.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Mildred and Aussie feel like besties that they met at camp. Um but
Yes.
but you don't really know each other that well. You just like right now are having a great time, and then like
Yes.
things get real and your bestie relationship at camp like
Yep.
no longer becomes. Grateful that that never happened to you and I, but
For
you know what I'm
real.
talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God, that could have happened to us.
It was never going to happen to us.
No. I love you.
I love you too. It was never going to
Okay.
happen to us.
It was
Yeah.
never gonna
Okay.
happen. The crib vlog solidified it.
Yeah, we just
Okay.
like we just like have too much in alignment with each other despite all of our differences at the time, that like it was just
Mm.
like you couldn't keep us, the universe couldn't keep us apart. It still can't keep
Oh
us
no.
apart.
No, I think it generates us together. It's like, y'all, we're meant to be on this planet at the same
I
time,
totally
reincarnated purposefully.
I totally agree. I
Me
totally agree.
too.
Um,
I have so much
so
love for
that's
you.
I know, me too. So
Sorry.
that's not Mildred and Aussie. I do think that they start in this place, but that's not what
Yes.
happens. Yeah.
No.
What do you want to say?
Yeah, it's cute. Like they express gratitude for each other. And then they start to recognize, like Mildred starts to recognize after the fallout of the whole night that she arrived, she's the one that gave the ultimatum. And I think she was trying to admit like there was a purpose, there was a part of her that issued the ultimatum to convince Tiff to marry her. Because what Mildred goes on to say is, I'm starting to realize I might leave here single or maybe
Right.
with you. So I think Mildred didn't think that that was going to happen initially, which is why she said that. I think she was aiming for, I'm going to get married to Tiff. Which just goes to show y'all make conscious decisions. Do not
Yeah.
do that to yourself.
Yeah.
Um, but I agree. Like these two, I think are still early days, like learning each other. I think what they bonded over is their character. Like I think that Mildred gravitates towards Aussie because Aussie has such a wonderful vibe about Aussie. Like
Yeah.
it's just
Mm-hmm.
it's there. And not only that, Aussie's very conscious and likes to have those kinds of conversations. So
Right.
love that about Aussie. Mildred, on the other hand, I think is learning that from Aussie, but I think Mildred possesses some kind of partnership qualities that are going to challenge Aussie.
Mm-hmm. And I think it gets messy.
It does get messy. So, do you want to jump into that or are we going to save that?
Let's get into it. I want to go
Okay.
there.
So, this starts to move on to the next episode. So, episode 4. But
Mm-hmm.
what we start to see is like, first of all, love that Aussie is introducing Mildred to her friend. I mean, to their
Mm-hmm.
friend, to Aussie's
Yeah.
friend. We got
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Um, and what I think is really great about Aussie's friend is Aussie's like, or I'm sorry, Mo, Aussie's friend is like, you have commitment issues. Like, I know this
Yeah.
about you. So
Yeah.
now you're ready for marriage.
Yeah.
She's asking these conversations that are very like, and that might sound super confrontational. However, the way that Mo did it wasn't so confrontational. I think she did it
Right.
from a place of love. And Aussie, Mo knows how to communicate with Aussie for it to be received as an actual contemplative question, not you're ready now type vibe.
Right. Right. Right.
Um,
Right.
so is there anything with the Mo situation you wanted to add to
No,
answer?
well, I mean, I guess yes, because I'm gonna keep talking, but I think like I think Mo is pointing out something that Aussie also knows is true about themselves, which is like Aussie wasn't ready for marriage, has like a couple, like a week long of conversations with
Yeah.
Mildred and others, and is like, oh my God, the idea of marriage, that sounds so great. Like, I think I could be ready for that. And Mo isn't putting that expectation that that's not possible for Aussie to develop into, but Mo's just like, hey, like, let's be super real here. Do you really feel that way? And
Yeah.
Aussie is being honest because they feel safe with their best friend Mo. And
Yes.
it says, I still have barriers around it. I still have a lot of fear. And I think that that is true. Like I think if Aussie was familiar with parts work, what Aussie could have done in that moment is like, there is a part of me that is feeling more warmed up to the idea of marriage. And there's still a part of me that feels very scared and fearful and very clung to the things that brought me to this place with my original partner, that
Yeah.
said, yeah, I don't know if I can do marriage. And I don't know how Mildred would have handled hearing the duality of Aussie holding on both, but instead Mildred just heard what felt like flip-flopping, and
Yeah.
Mildred didn't like that. And I think that that was actually triggering for Mildred. And I think Mildred was just like, I'm tired of this. Like,
Yeah.
you're like, you want marriage or you don't. And I'm just sort of like, my personal note for Mildred is like, did you really see Aussie as a potential partner for you? Maybe that's true. But, or are you just so jaded by people, namely your ex partner
Yes.
Tiff,
Yeah.
telling you that they're not ready, and you're feeling like, I am ready and I want marriage and I want my wife and I want my partner and I want to move on with my family, and I like, you can want all of those things, but you cannot steamroll people into it. And you also can't, I'm going to say it, you can't be fucking mad at them when they're struggling with what this stuff means to them. You
No.
can't be mad at them. You can
No.
feel upset about the impact of it on your life. You can't be mad with them. They're just people and they're
No.
struggling and they're
Exactly.
mean, and they're well-meaning, well-intentioned people that are having a hard time with something that is as big of a deal as marriage.
Yeah. 100%. Um, Look, if you resonate with how Mildred is feeling, like you either want to be in a relationship or you don't. You either want to be with me or you don't. You either want marriage or you don't, right? Um, a lot of times this is stemming from an abandonment wound where you're looking for a guarantee before you yourself feel fully safe in the relationship. And I really feel like that's what's coming online for Mildred right now. Is there some kind of trauma in her past where any kind of dual feelings of like, I like the idea of marriage and simultaneously I have this fear, that for them is the equivalent to abandonment just because of the human experience of like, oh,
Mm,
yes, of course, we can all. How many times have you wanted like an ice cream sundae and, chocolate, or sorry, like potato chips at the same time? Like they're two completely different things. And it doesn't mean that
mhm.
one is better and one is, this is such a silly example, but go with me. It doesn't mean that
Yeah.
one is better and one is the other one, nor are you going to look at me and be like, how can you want two different things? And like, that's going to irate you. Like, that's not we're allowed to desire or have different things flowing through, different emotions flowing through our bodies at the same time, even emotions that are completely contradictory of each other. How many
Hmm.
times have you been sad and laughed at the same time? Right?
Hmm.
Like, it's
Hmm.
possible. So I want to just say, like, if you aren't going to allow, if you're finding that you are triggered by hearing someone express their human experience to you of duality, that is mirroring within you a part of you that doesn't feel they're allowed to feel multiple things at once. It's like, I have to want this and be 100% in or else. And the reason that is most likely coming up for you is because there's some wound in your past that is causing you to look outside of yourself for guarantees from other people for you to feel safe. You see what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
Yep.
So Yeah, I really think that that's what's going on with Mildred and why she's tripping over this idea of marriage, and even with Aussie, because I agree with you. I personally, and I am 100% ready to own this, I don't truly think Mildred views Aussie as someone who would be the right partner for Mildred. I really don't. I think that she is just wanting to be chosen, and I think a lot of people,
Hmm.
out of desperation to be chosen, hyperfixate on these types of words and
Hmm.
behaviors. Yeah.
Ooh, interesting. And then we see it again when and I there's a lot of validity in the things that Mildred brings up about her frustrations with living with Aussie.
Yeah.
But the way that she deals with it is not it's not ever conducive to allow for Aussie to like show up and like meet Mildred halfway. But um Mildred's upset that like Aussie really doesn't cook, that Aussie sleeps in, so Mildred's always cleaning. And it's like, Mildred, yes, you have preferences, but Aussie's also like on sort of a different schedule than yours. But because it's not your schedule, that means that they're doing it wrong. And I understand, like Aussie was making promises of like, I'm gonna cook for you and blah blah blah. And Mildred's like, I didn't get that. I was really excited about that, but I'm the one cooking for us, and I'm the one holding like, I'm cleaning, I'm cooking, you're sleeping. Valid, valid. But the way that she was talking about it was very contemptuous and very like, it was very challenging, and it
Yeah.
caused Aussie to shut down. And it's interesting. Both Sam and Aussie recognize that Aussie struggles with confrontation. But I think that I've also seen Aussie have lots of confrontational conversations, but when they feel safe, Aussie is less likely to shut down. When
Right.
Aussie is being positioned as is under attack, and that, or at least that's how it translates for Aussie. That's when Aussie shuts down.
Yeah. Yeah. So Mildred definitely had some contemptuous language, and she triangulated Aussie by saying, "You're lucky because when Tiff cooks, I don't help her at all." Which
Right.
is really messed up. And so of course Aussie is going to shut down because they're being compared.
To a partner
And
that's not even in the room.
yeah. So it's just, and like how is that constructive? How is that ever constructive? Um and so Aussie also in the middle of this chimes in and says, "You're right. I'm going to put more of an effort in next week." So Mildred already got what she was looking for, which is Aussie to own up to, you know, being capable of more than they've been contributing.
Yeah.
And paired with the promise to do better.
Yeah.
And here's where it really gets icky for me is Mildred continues to keep hammering home her point. That wasn't enough for
Yeah.
her. And
Yeah.
I really wanna say, like, wave a giant red flag here. Because that, when your partner has owned up to, "You're right, and I'm gonna do better next week," and you
Shut it
continue
down.
to berate or shut it down or whatever, you are teaching your partner you're not
It's never
safe.
enough. Yeah.
And
And it's
also
also
it's
never
never enough.
enough.
And so many other belief systems, like they're not safe, they that you're always going to view them in this way. There's so many different things that insert here. And so we need, it is our first and foremost responsibility in relationship to establish safe feedback, safe confrontation from the get-go. Because if you don't do it from the start, and that is their first conflict resolution, and Aussie's experiencing that, whoo, and it's
Mm-hmm.
early days, y'all. If this is the best
Mm-hmm.
behavior, what's going to happen when they get more comfortable? So I'm
Mm.
just like, I just really feel for Aussie, and I think Mildred is capable of growth here. And so what I would like, and this is, let me rephrase what I just said. I believed Mildred was capable of growth until I hear her conversation with Sam at the group date.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Yes.
Can we go there? We're just going to finish
Yeah.
out
Let's
this
go there.
couple.
Yeah. Let's
So
do it.
we go to the group date, and I or not ironically or coincidentally, I'm sure this was planned purposefully. Mildred is in a group with Sam, Aussie's original partner.
Yeah.
And Mildred starts to grill Sam around, well, how'd you conflict resolve? How'd you communicate with her? Because I'm trying to, and she just shuts down and da 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 and all this stuff. And Sam is the most conscious person out of the entire group. She very calmly is explains Aussie's avoidant. And you need to wait until Aussie feels calm and safe to sit down and have
Right.
that conversation. And
Right.
Mildred wastes no time and is like, "Well, how does she get there? How does Aussie get there?" And Sam starts to express she usually needs to meditate. Sorry, Aussie needs to meditate.
Mm-hmm.
And so um Mildred then chimes in and goes, "Screw that, she's 42. She needs to learn how to
Right.
figure it out." And that at
Right.
my point is like, you're not open to influence then. You're not open to growth. If
Yeah.
that's going to be the stance that you stubbornly stick your stake in the ground in. Because I don't care if you're 42, 72, 105, trauma is trauma is trauma. And the fact that Sam knows that about Aussie means Aussie knows that about Aussie
Right.
because they've
And that's
had that
enough.
kind of conversation. And so, really, it's not about demanding your partner communicate or do things in the way that you want them to. It's, I see my partner for the whole, WHOLE, the whole human that they are.
Mm.
And I'm choosing to embrace skills that allow me to communicate with my partner as the whole
Mm-hmm.
human that they are. Not, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to take this human partner of mine and make them communicate in my way, make them cook and clean in my way. That will never work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
It's so true. No, I thought that that was beautiful. And it's very clear that Mildred doesn't have any space for that,
No.
which me like the thing is like if you are not willing to let someone regulate themselves so that they can be in a place to have a conversation, then you are constantly setting them up for failure. What do you
And
want someone to
yourself.
do? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm glad you said that. And yourself. You're not giving your relationship an opportunity to grow beyond its current satisfaction level. If you're not willing to listen and learn from your partner's like ways of allowing themselves to meet you in that conversation. I know, Mildred, that you want to have Aussie available for that conversation exactly when you want it. I get that. That you're not wrong for wanting that, but it's just not going to fucking work for you. And it's not going to
Yeah.
work for you with anyone.
No.
That's not how
No.
people work. We can't just rush ourselves to have like escalated conversations or hard conversations on tight timelines on one person's timeline. So, like, yeah, if Aussie needs to meditate for 40 minutes before Aussie's ready to talk to you about the thing that you're so heated about, let them do that. And if you're not patient enough to do that, then you're not the right person for that partner. And I'm definitely not about to see someone's efforts to regulate themselves so that they can have a difficult conversation, something that they're very fearful of, and
No.
have that fact weaponized against them. It's fucking bullshit.
It is fucking bullshit. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So I I really honestly feel for Aussie because I have this feeling that Aussie being in a relationship with Mildred is going to pour salt on Aussie's wounds instead of aid in healing them.
And probably not make the idea of marriage more attractive. Um,
Absolutely not. Or
I
maybe
do,
with Sam, make it more attractive, because
I
now
know, I
she
was thinking that too.
I really hope that I think that they might. I think that they might go through this entire experiment together and come back together and see. Because now let's go to Sam and Tiff. Let's make a lateral
Yeah,
shift.
please, please.
So we see very similar behaviors like demonstrated by Mildred with Tiff. Ironic, I mean, not ironically at all. Mildred and Tiff were original partners that came in together. Now we're seeing them treat their new partners in ways that they most likely treated each other, because Tiff also triangulates Sam
Yeah.
with the dog. Sam has or I'm sorry, Tiff has a husky, a beautiful pup,
Yeah.
who Tiff feels very strongly about, and rightfully so. I love my dog. Tiff loves their dog, right?
Yeah.
Um, but again, Tiff is coming at the dog situation very much my way or the highway, and then sprinkling in the triangulation of, and oh, by the way, when I was with Mildred, this is what she did. And I love that Sam caught that and was like, well, I'm not Mildred. Which, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
if you're ever triangulated, is the best way to respond to triangulating, because it's like, I'm not that
Mm-hmm.
person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and, but, and then she also starts to try and express like, us like yelling at each other right now like isn't the vibe.
Right.
And so Tiff, however, digs in even more and is like, I'm not asking you to care. I'm just asking you to act like you care about my dog. It's not that hard. Like, what the F do I need to do? And she's like yelling this at her. And Sam is now to the point to where she's so dysregulated. She's crying and standing in the corner on the opposite side of the room, like, whew, yeah, and so we need to understand a few things. One, raising our voice is not going to create a safe space. And when we're not feeling safe, there's a lot of things that happen in the nervous system that cause conscious, like active listening to be very challenging. And
Mm-hmm.
again, you're not going to be able to have a conversation. What these two really need to do was like, take a time out, allow themselves to regulate, come to a safe space, and then actually have a conversation. But the thing that I really want to hit home that Tiff is not hearing and Sam keeps trying to articulate is, I'm not saying the dog can't sleep in the bed with us. I'm not saying the dog can't be here. All she said was, I don't like my feet to feel claustrophobic. So that just means I want to put the dog in a place where my feet don't feel claustrophobic. That's it.
Right.
And if she's not
Right.
going to love on your dog the way that you want her to love on your dog, then like stop trying to force that to happen. She's her own person. She gets to choose. And I highly doubt that Sam is not loving. Like, yeah, it's
Right.
just weird. It
And
just
that's
got
what she
really
keeps
weird.
trying to say. She keeps
Yeah.
trying to be like, I love dogs and I'm really and you see her get really emotional trying to defend
Yeah.
herself because this is clearly like a part of her character that she knows is true and she values. And what I'm noticing in this moment is that she's like, she can feel like her boundaries are being pushed, and someone who because of their emotional response is
Yeah.
trying to tell Sam who Sam is, and Sam's like, don't try to paint me as this person who doesn't care about dogs, who doesn't love dogs, who doesn't want dogs to feel safe and okay and happy. Like, I care about dogs, I care about me too. That's what she's saying.
Yes.
And Tiff is like really like making lots of assumptions. Like, and Netflix does this funny thing with their edits where we like don't have all of the information. And so what I'm learning is the
They love to
husky
do
is
that.
big, but they love to do that. The husky is also very old. So I think the reason why like Tiff's dog being in the bed with them is so important is because it must be like historically what has been the most comfortable for the dog and Tiff in the dog's old age. And because this is like challenging for like Tiff and the dog being so old, Sam having any measure of, hey, I just want us to consider like what works for me, what makes me feel comfortable. Tiff interprets that as, you don't care about my dog. I can't believe you don't give
Yeah.
a shit about my dog. I can't believe that I'm living here with a person that doesn't give a shit about my dog. Like, what kind of person are you? And I'm like, whoa,
Whoa.
whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah,
That,
it was really, really wild. I have yikes in all caps here. Um, and so here's where at least we have a U-turn. They take time apart, they come back together over a meal, and Tiff starts by saying, we need a time apart to chill. And then Tiff asked a question that was like earlier today when I was, I'm paraphrasing.
yeah,
But she says, when I cried and I raised my voice, did that like hurt you? And Sam was like, yeah. um,
yes.
Yeah, it did. And but what I think is great here, and I want to give Tiff a pat on the back because here's the one step in the healing journey that she's made. She recognizes, and I quote Tiff here, she says, I felt out of my body, right? She was describing a dysregulated nervous system, right? And so I love that she can at least sense that because here's where I hope Tiff takes that is when I am feeling this way out of my body, I know this isn't a sign that I'm incapable of communicating effectively right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so now what I hope Tiff does moving forward is now that she's aware of that, she can actually call a timeout to be able to give herself that time, like she said, to separate and chill before having the conversation. That's the baseline to any healthy conflict resolution. It's not something that we should shame or judge or think like someone's less emotionally intelligent if they need a timeout. It's actually quite the opposite. Asking for a break is the healthiest conscious thing you can do when you're
Mm.
feeling not in your body when you're trying to
Mm-hmm.
communicate.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm excited to see what Sam can teach Tiff because again, the clarity that Sam has from her relationship with Aussie around attachment styles and how to navigate that is going to be transferable in her relationship with Tiff. Now the question is Tiff truly open to that influence? Because if she is, Tiff is going to make ridiculous relationship progress just allowing Sam to show her by leading by example like how you can have healthy conflict resolution.
Right. I I think what we start to see, we haven't really like after that conversation, we don't really get to see Tiff and Sam in action, but by the time we get to the like
Group.
people are getting together, yeah, the group settings, we see Mildred challenging Sam, and Sam, I think in a way of trying to defend herself, she's like, actually, like me and Tiff are have been working on communication, and Tiff basically she's kind of like talking about Tiff as like a proud like
Yeah.
teacher.
Yeah.
She's like, actually, Tiff is learning how to communicate pretty well with me, actually.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised what Tiff's doing.
Yeah. I think she said that I was so happy she did say that because Mildred really needs to realize you're the common denominator here, babe. Like, and
Yo.
I say that with so much love because it's like I was too. We all are. We're all the common denominator of our experiences. If you've had a history of relationships where conflict was really toxic, look at yourself and see it. That doesn't mean the other person wasn't contributing to toxicity. Let me be very clear here. But what it does mean is that you have the opportunity to look at the pattern that you've been in and the pattern you want to change and say, how do I contribute to this and what can I do differently next time? And that's when your healing starts to really compound because if you start to look at that in every single area of your life, like here's this pattern again, what can I do? It allows you to take intentional decisions that allow you to have a new result, right? Like you can't keep doing it's that saying with insanity. You can't keep doing the same thing over and over again expecting a different result. You need to insert new ingredients and those ingredients start with you. So I really loved that Sam said that and I really hope Mildred chews on that and is like, "Oh, shoot. So if Sam had a decent relationship with Aussie and could communicate and now she's in a relationship with my ex of 4 years and is starting to communicate better with her, then what is it about me that I need to alter here to get a better end result?" You know? It doesn't mean you're
Yeah.
a good person or a bad person. We all have our shit. It's our responsibility to handle our shit. The end.
Word. Yeah.
To your mother. All right.
To
Who's the
your
next
mother.
couple?
We got to go back to Lexi and Mal and Ray and Vanessa. Oh my God, Xander and Yoli. Let's talk about
Okay.
Xander and Yoli really quickly.
Great.
Um, I'm gonna just sort of blast on through, but basically, Xander and Yoli start to connect in their like new shared space, and what we're sort of seeing them spend time together as we're getting Yoli's context of what being in a relationship with new people has been like for Yoli. And for her, it's sort of been like a slow roll as sort of a physical progression and feeling emotionally safe and physically safe with partners. And she's saying it has taken me a lot of time. It's even taken me a lot of time with my ex-partner Mal. And what we're seeing is she continues to be really drawn to Xander. She's wanting to touch Xander. They're like cuddling a little bit. They're doing a little like stroke, like, non super sexual stroking, like touching stuff. And then we see their physical relationship really like kick into gear in a natural way. They talk about it a little bit
They
too.
do. Yeah, they
They
talk
talk
about it.
we learn after we also learn that they have sex, that they talked about their own sex life, their own like interests, their relationship with sex a lot more than we got to see on the show. Honestly, I would have rather seen that than like just them having sex in like their
I
bedroom
know.
cam.
Yeah.
But of course, this is a television show and they think that all we care about is just seeing them do stuff, and like
Which
that's
is
all
so
fine and good.
dumb. We're watching bed sheets move around. People, like, come on
I
now. Do we
know. And also,
really?
like, I do think about their privacy. Like, I mean, I know that
Yeah.
they're on the show, but like, I would have loved to like overstep their privacy and be into the world of how they communicate about their sex life than to actually
Yes.
see them engage in their sex life. I don't really care to see that,
Exactly.
but so
Yeah.
anyway, I think that it's so funny because afterwards, after they like have that night together, the next day, Xander was like, we've talked about it so much. It's one of those things where I knew it was going to be great.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to be great.
I can vouch for this because I've had very similar experiences when I talk about sex, even with someone that I'm dating new or a friends with benefits situation or previous partners. The more that we talk about it and what we want to do, what we would try, what is down the road for us, what we can do better now, like it really actually, I have
The
something about
game.
this that I need to share. Yeah. I have
Oh.
something about this that you're gonna like crack up, but it's so great. It really empowers us as a partner, as a team, like as a couple,
Hmm.
to have better and better sex. This was about the let me lick your finger the way I want you to lick me conversation we had privately.
Yes. Oh my
So
God.
can we talk? Can I share about a real
Go,
life
go. Yeah.
experience?
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh my
so
God,
Brie and I
please.
were talking privately about like giving partners feedback for sex. And because we never ever want it to come across like what you're doing isn't good enough, right? We don't want to like
Mm.
make our partner feel shame or not good enough ever. And so Brie and I were kind of piggybacking on like different ways that we can sexy like make like give that feedback without it coming across weird. And so or like again, shamey. So
Or unnatural as well. Yeah.
unnatural, yeah. And so what Brie and I were talking about is like, what if we licked their finger the way they wanted to lick us? Like that was something we were
Hmm.
like, let's play with that. So I
Hmm.
share this with my partner,
Uh-huh.
and he was like, or we could even do like a Simon Says, like while I'm doing it to you, you can lick my
Hmm.
finger, and I will mimic what you do to my finger on you in real time.
Yo.
Yeah, so he took the exercise and made it way sexy. So,
Wow.
but
Wow. He modded
this
up.
is he did, but like come on now, y'all. Like this is the partnership we want, right? Like don't we
Hmm.
want us to be comfortable having these conversations and then allowing for them to be like, "I'll take you and raise you," right? Like
Hmm.
this is what allows for that kind of exploration and that kind of intimacy to really grow. So,
Yeah.
I wanted to share that as a real life tip for anybody listening. But also it's a maze.
So use that exercise. Simon Says, where
Yeah.
Simon Saysing sex and sexual activity.
Yes.
Um, and yeah, it's true. It's not going to get worse because you're talking about it.
No, it'll only get better.
It's only going to get better because you're talking about it. And that's also something I've been playing around with, which is like the science is proving the results are significant. The
Yeah.
results are significant and it's
Yeah.
working. And it's case in point, Yoli and Xander are very connected right now.
Exactly. Yeah. And they're hot together. Like I love
I
watching them
agree.
together. I'm like, "Oh my God, I love can I come to the wedding? Like I love you two
I
together."
agree. I
Um,
think that they look really good together. And it has nothing to do with
mhm.
what they actually look like, but they're just connected. They do
Yeah.
look good together though, too.
They do. And so something that I really think is cute that Xander does is she says thanks to Yoli for letting her have access to her in that way, which I thought was really romantic and cute in a way.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because it's like you level up your relationship when you have sex, and like the more that you grow in that way as well, like it just feels like this ever growing beautiful thing. So love that Xander did that. And then Yoli reassures Xander by being like, I like you. I like you more than I thought I would. And so, if I'm being
Hmm.
honest, it might complicate things, but she's at least communicating to Xander, like, I'm in this with you. Like, yeah, I like you
I
too, and we're going to need to
I have a
figure it out.
question
Yeah, go
because
ahead.
we're about to talk about some stuff that sort of opens up the debate of like, is having sex in this experience with new partners like a betrayal, a breach of trust?
Yeah.
um and I'm just curious, and I'm curious what you think about this group of people. It's not really
Yeah.
specific about them, but like any group of people that's in this experience, do you think that like the trial partner, the trial marriage experience is like sex should be off limits?
My what I want to say is everyone decides that for themselves. And I
Right.
also want to say if you are calling your previous partner an ex and you are doing a trial marriage and you are calling the person that you're in living with now for the next 3 months, or sorry, 3 weeks, 3 months, that would be a real test
Yeah.
of trial marriage.
Yeah, marriage.
Um, 3 weeks. If you are testing that out and you really want to take this experiment, I personally am of the belief system, of course you're going to have sex, right?
Right. Right.
Um, if you are asexual or maybe you don't have many sexual needs in a relationship, because there are people out there who
Yeah, of
don't
course.
don't need that as much, then maybe not. But you get to decide.
Yeah.
Um,
I
so
guess I'm just curious because it's like we see Xander and Yoli explore their sexuality as a very natural part of their
right.
connection that they're exploring as well. The non-sexual parts of their connection, and sex is just one part of it, and so it's clearly important to both Yoli and Xander. Again, cut to Vanessa saying that
It's
Xander was
all she's talking
asexual.
about. Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
which is so
It's a
interesting. And again, like
lie.
that truly doesn't represent asexuality like
No,
properly. I think Vanessa like used weaponized asexuality in that
she
moment
did.
a couple episodes ago. But it's so, but so we're seeing that, and it's not coming to the surface, whereas we see, and I'm going to shift gears here a little bit, Vanessa and Ray have a night where their intimacy kind of escalates. I am curious, like, truly how Ray felt leading up to this experience, and how truly Vanessa felt leading up to this experience and afterwards. But they end up having sex, and Ray is like overwhelmed with guilt and shame the next day. And so
Yeah.
tells, like, calls Lexi and tells Lexi about it, because I
Yeah.
think that, and I understood why Ray did that as well.
Me too.
Like, it felt like Ray was like, oh my God, I broke the contract with my partner. And for Lexi and Ray, it feels like that contract was still very much intact.
Yeah.
Um, and I wonder if they talked about it before they went into their new environments with new people.
Mm. Yeah, we don't know. Can I guess at how Ray was feeling? Can
Yeah,
I just insert my own ideas?
we're always prepared to be wrong, but for the sake of maybe
Always.
being
I have a
right, let's say it.
hypothesis.
Yeah.
I have a hypothesis because I feel like I've been with people who are like Vanessa, who have like very wild, loud personalities that, and there's a difference between naturally having a loud, wild personality. I feel like I have a natural, loud, wild personality, but it ebbs, like I ebb and flow with my life and like where what I'm doing, the environment, right? Like I'm not always turned up to 100 no matter who I'm with and where I'm at, right?
Right, right, right,
So,
right.
I think there's a difference between a genuine personality in that way and something that's using to like you're using that kind of personality to manipulate. And in the case of Vanessa, I do feel that it's using that kind of personality to manipulate. Because what we're seeing is a lot of love bombing, and the types of different behaviors that fall under the category of love bombing are the sex bombing things, the future faking things, the mirroring things. All of that are versions of love bombing, and that's really all we've seen from Vanessa. We haven't seen any depth. The most emotional depth I've seen from Vanessa is her being honest about the how monogamy turns her off. Like that's really the most emotional depth I've seen from her thus far, right?
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
When someone like Ray, who lacks a solid sense of self, who is kind of at a place in their life where they're like, I don't know what I want, and they're in an environment like that where it's like, sit on my face, you're so hot, we're gonna make a life together, da 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 da, sex, 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 sex. Watch me get my nipples pierced, right? And then shove your
Right.
nipples in my face later because she
Right.
says that, right? I really feel that Ray fawned, was in a fawn response, which
Mm.
is also known as people pleaser response. And I think that she yielded, that's the best way to describe it, to having some form of sex with Vanessa because Ray was hoping that that would make her enjoy this experience better. I think also she was just bombarded by Vanessa's like, this is what we do, this is what we're going to do, this is what's going to happen, this is what the expectation is.
Mm.
And
Hmm.
so I think Ray did it to do it for probably a whole mixed bag of reasons that I could sit here and hypothesize about, but I'm just going to lead with those two. And that's why the next morning she felt so much shame. It's because she made a decision that wasn't truly what she wanted to do. It was out of alignment with what she wanted with herself. And I
Yeah.
think that shame and guilt caused her to go to the one person that's in this experiment who could even somewhat understand what she's going through for comfort and
Mm.
validation and forgiveness. And that's why she called Lexi.
Mm. Hmm. Hmm.
So it's just like I want everyone who's listening to like really what I wish Ray would do is to sit Vanessa down for a chat and be like, I understand that it sounds like you're a very hypersexualized person and that's amazing. And I'd really love for us to talk about something other than sex. Because
Right.
I'm starting to feel peer pressured and I'm not ready to have sex of any kind yet.
Just kind of feels like a lot. Just kind of feels like there's no
Yeah.
room for us to talk about anything else. Just kind of feels like if I don't match your level of sexual excitement, then I'm the one that's in the wrong here. There's so
Yeah.
many different ways to be able to bring that up and sort of break through. And you will find, especially with someone like Vanessa, whose behaviors are hard to assess their like authenticity at best. Um, you will find out everything that you need to know about where you stand with that person in those moments when you like bring that stuff up. But
Yeah.
it's hard. Sometimes it's hard for Ray to find her voice, it seems,
Yeah. Ray, out of everyone on the show, is the hardest for me
to read.
to read. The only time I could read her and hypothesize about anything is that.
Yeah.
But
And you know what?
because
And there's a
it's an
reason for that. There's a good reason for that.
exactly. Poor girl has so many walls up, and it's like I'm so curious to know because she also simultaneously, like, I really vibe with Lexi. I think Lexi's a dope human, and so it's like whatever Lexi sees in Ray, like I'm sure there's something there that we haven't seen on this show yet. You know what I mean? And I wish
Hmm.
Ray felt more at peace with herself and confident in who she is to present that to the world on this show. Um, but that's not the case. And so I want to give her a hug. Like, I really feel like
Hmm.
Ray's inner child is like, somebody just let me know that I'm going to be okay. Like, I really feel
Yeah.
that I just want to wrap her up in my arms and have a convo with her.
Yeah, I feel that.
Not in a non sexual way, Ray, by the way,
Yeah. Yeah.
friend
We're
way.
here for you.
We're here
Um,
for you.
So then we have Lexi and Mal. Lexi is upset. It's so interesting to see parallel to one another how Vanessa is supporting Ray as Ray is like, this is why I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling and I'm having a hard time with this. And Vanessa's really kind of just like minimizing it, shooting it down a little bit, making light out of it. Um,
Also violating her privacy by saying what they did, and you could tell Ray kind of was like, we know what we did, like you don't need to tell the camera, because like
right.
that was also something I was like, hell yeah, Ray, that was the most like fire, like I'm gonna stand up for myself right now energy that I've seen
Yeah,
from
but you know
her.
what? Lexi broke that privacy later on as well, which I have frustrations with Lexi. I know that they come just from her being a human being, but so I don't have
Agreed.
frustrations from
Yeah.
Lexi being upset about what
No.
she learned.
Yeah.
That is normal. I mean like there's I wish that she could also like use duality here to say like there's a part of me that's really hurting from my partner having sex with someone else, and there's a part of me that's also still exploring the possibility of a real relationship or a sexual relationship with you, Mal, who I have been giving signals to that I am sexually attracted. So there's a, listen, with duality there is also hypocrisy, but there is a little bit of hypocrisy there, just a smidge. However, the point of why I'm bringing this up is like
Agree.
Mal is so supportive.
Yeah.
This was hot. I was like,
Yeah.
Mal, if you could just be my partner, like I need you to die. I need you to cool it down for
Yeah.
me, you know? Because Mal was just
Cool
like
it down for her.
right there,
Yep, she
right
was.
there.
She did a
So
great
like,
job.
and physically got closer with Lexi because like they could tell that Lexi was like feeling really vulnerable. But it
Yeah.
wasn't like a closing in on like, I'm going to like make you feel better with my body because of sex. I'm going to make you feel better with my body because you're a person who's needing connection right now in your vulnerable place, and
Yeah.
validates Lexi about how she's feeling and expresses understanding, and also like it sort of does like a fix it or feel it check in, and it's just like, ooh,
Yeah.
I was really glad that Lexi had that from Mal. I feel bad
Agreed.
about Mal, and I also like that Mal acknowledged for themselves to be like, selfishly, this kind of fucks up my own processing because this is a thing that we're dealing with that you weren't expecting to be emotionally thrown by, and I don't know how this is going to land for you. I think that Mal's sort of anticipating, is this going to cause like Lexi to totally disconnect from me in the time that we have? You and I both know that this is really an opportunity for them to navigate something really difficult together in partnership with one another.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and so agreed. Don't want to add anything to that. 100%. Mal killed it. And then we fast forward. I think she also killed it here. So we fast forward
Yeah.
to the group outing. Ray and Mal are in the same group. Ray invites Mal to go get a drink with her. They get up to the bar, and Ray actually apologizes to Mal for calling and being like, "Hey, not sure how this impacted you. I was in and Mal actually took a moment to just be a friend in a way to Ray and was like, "Look, if I was in your position, I wouldn't have called my partner to tell them what I did. But I get it.
Yeah.
And you did what you
Yeah.
did. And I appreciate you like owning it and coming to me. We're good. We're squashing it. Moving on."
Right.
And I
Right.
loved that. I loved that about both of them. I loved that Ray was like, "Let me own this because this also low key isn't fair to Mal." And then
Right.
Mal was like, "Yeah, you're right. And we're moving on, you know?"
Right.
Um, so
Mal's
really
dope. Mal is
she's
dope.
so dope. She's so dope.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's be friends. I love it. I love it. I love them. So, um, do we have anyone else?
We just have what happens at the round table when
The
Vanessa and
Xander thing?
Lexi and
Hmm.
oh yeah, I mean, the only thing I want to say about Xander is like every time now Xander is on like the hella defense when it comes to Vanessa.
Hmm.
They don't really need to be. Xander could tolerate just like listening to hear what people have to say, and they can choose whether they want to take it in or not. There's
Yeah.
something that's powerful in choice, even while other people have a lot to say, and you just like sitting back and hearing it and be like, thank you for sharing your thoughts. If you really don't subscribe to it, objectively take yourself out. But it's the candle, the flame never going out for Vanessa to defend her that feels like evidence of someone who's being abused in their relationship.
Yeah, it really does.
It really does.
We've
Yeah,
seen
that's
her
all I
be
wanted to say about that.
abused. We've seen her be abused already in real time on this show. So it's just like I
Hmm.
can't imagine how much of that was taking place without cameras for the 4 years before. Um,
And Xander talked about it. Xander was like, Vanessa's not always nice. Like Vanessa's not always like supportive. Like so, yeah, babes. Yeah,
we're
babes.
moving on, Xander.
No,
Yeah,
babes.
bye bye. Okay, so what are we ditching?
Um, we are ditching. We are ditching the inability to see ourselves as part of the relationship challenges in the patterns that we experience.
That's
I'm
huge.
speaking to Mildred.
Yeah.
Mildred is a really good example of something that we all do, something that I also have done, which is like, I mean, I was even saying it to you before we got on, like this, like sometimes in being in relationships always feels really hard for me. Like getting to this point in a relationship always feels hard. I really want it to be easy. And then as I was saying it, I was like, whoa, it can't always just be that way because it's just my luck. It's just my luck. Why me? I like hate this like fuck my life mentality. Because if it's always happening to me from my experience, then I'm contributing to it reoccurring in my life. And I think that Mildred is not yet seen how Mildred contributes to the challenging dynamics that make it difficult for Mildred to access the safe, secure love that she does deserve.
100%. Yep. Yep. Um, I say that we ditch uh triangulating our partners. You guys, this is never
Yeah.
helpful, and it's something that so many people have normalized. Like, my ex wouldn't do that, my ex would do this. It's been done to me. My ex would watch horror movies with me. It's like, why, what are you really trying to say with that? You're trying
Mm-hmm.
to shame me. You're trying to make me feel bad because I'm not doing something the way that you want me to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Triangulating never, ever, ever, ever builds safety or intimacy in relationships. So we need to stop doing it. It
Mm-hmm.
actually causes a lack of safety and a lack of intimacy. So we're putting triangulating down, y'all. We're not talking about exes like that ever,
No,
ever. No,
no.
no. We are not comparing our partners to our exes ever.
We
All
can
right.
talk about exes. We should talk about that in a future.
Okay. How we talk about
Debunk
exes?
Yeah, debunk the myth that like you should never talk about exes with like someone that you're dating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we will talk about that. Noted.
Let's talk
Next
about it.
week. Next
Yeah.
week, our opener, we're going to talk about that specifically because I love this topic. Okay.
Yeah.
If you guys liked this episode, please screenshot it, share it to the gram, share it to your friends, copy that link, and spam everybody with it. And when you tag us on the gram, or I'm saying make sure to tag us at Dish the Script Pod, and we'll share it and spread the love. If you have a question you want us to answer, head to dishdescriptpod.com. And then going back to social media, if you're not following us yet on Instagram or TikTok, then make sure you do so at Dish the Script Pod. Am I missing anything?
No, you crushed it.
Okay. Leave us a
Crushed.
rating and review. That's it.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah. Oh
you.
yeah. Love
We'll see you
you.
later. Happy Pride, bitches! Woo!
Happy Pride, gays. Love you.